When the girl opened her eyes, she was already dangling 10,000 meters above the ground. The temperature was nearing minus 50 degrees Celsius. If this went on, she'd freeze to death in no time. She screamed for her companion in the basket below, but the only response was the howling wind. It was clear, her partner had lost consciousness. The hot air balloon kept rising, and the temperature kept dropping. She had to get back into the basket, open the release valve, and start descending, or she wouldn't survive. She swung her legs desperately, trying to build enough momentum to swing back. After countless attempts, she finally managed to grab the edge of the basket. There was no time to rest. She rushed to pull the release valve, only to find it was frozen solid, completely stuck. There was only one option left: climb to the top of the balloon and release the air manually. She climbed up the ropes, inch by inch. No telling how long it took, but she finally reached the side of the balloon. It was the most dangerous section to climb. One wrong move, and she'd fall to her death. She tried to grab the support rope nearby for safety, but her hands couldn't reach. Exhausted and barely conscious, her vision began to blur. In a daze, she caught a glimpse of her unconscious partner, and in that moment, her will to survive was reignited. She clenched her jaw, repositioned herself, and stretched with everything she had to grab the rope. Tying the safety rope around her waist, she pushed forward, climbing to the very top of the balloon. She tried to open the valve with her arms, but it didn't budge. Carefully she stood up. She kicked the valve nozzle with all her strength. After much effort, the valve finally popped open. To keep it from freezing shut again, the girl pulled out her knife and cut her shoelace, using the shoe to jam the valve open. The balloon finally began to descend. Her companion slowly regained consciousness and opened his eyes, but before they could breathe a sigh of relief, the girl noticed something terrifying. The falling snowflakes were floating midair. That meant the balloon was falling faster than the snow. They rushed to pull the valve shut, but pulled too hard, and the valve flew wide open. The balloon went into a full-on nosedive. Panicking, they threw out all their belongings to reduce weight, but it still wasn't enough. They realized they had to ditch the heaviest part, the basket itself. They climbed onto the iron frame, cutting the basket's ropes one by one. The ground was closing in fast, but the descent was still way too steep. At this rate, they were doomed. In a moment of despair, the girl stepped to the edge of the frame, ready to sacrifice herself, to give her partner a chance to live. He shouted for her to stop. Then, like a flash of lightning, it hit him. If they cut the circular ropes around the balloon, the envelope would spread out into a giant net. Like a parachute, he shouted the plan to her. She nodded. They got to work immediately. As the last rope snapped, the balloon flared out, transforming into a massive parachute. Their descent finally slowed down. Having cheated death, the two burst out laughing. They grabbed each other's hands, and finally, safely touched down on solid ground.